How's it, everybody? Welcome back to the Nomasburg region. Today, we are kicking things off with setting up the depots for our tram network as well as our bus network. So I thought this would be a decent enough spot, fairly close still to the industrial area, which will serve as the point where all of our public transportation will basically kick off. So I wanted this tram depot to look like it is something that is undergoing some kind of renovation. So I used this tram depot building that looks a little bit more modern and not an aged one. So even though I'm going with that aged look across the town, we'll have a few places where things are still in fairly decent condition. Now the idea here is that the old tram station or whichever company ran the old tram system in the town is slowly fading away, but it has subsequently been bought over by some new company, and now it's undergone a bit of renovation. So they've got this nice modern building, but not the entire place is completely up to scratch. So we kind of dirtying up the back area of this building, but then the building itself has been renovated quite nicely. So it's just trying to capture a look of something that is still up and running a little bit. And then combining it with this, what are these things? These warehouse assets. And then changing the color, I'm able to get it to look a little bit nicer, like there's some kind of a loading area, a place where things would be loaded into the building. And what's nice about this is that it's actually a functional building. So you actually get trucks driving in and out of this place. And then where the actual, goods get offloaded, it actually fills up over time. So it actually looks dynamic when you run the game. It looks like things really get delivered there and get used at the same time. But not steering too far away from the old look. We have places like here where there's some kind of a house which has all these abandoned cars and who knows what just sitting around there. So places around this whole town will be a mixture of things happening, as well as places where people have literally just left it and they've gone and they haven't sold the land to anybody. So whichever company wants to build, they can't just build over it because it's still owned by somebody. And at the same time, we have new companies moving into the site. So like here, we've got these warehouse assets that are a bit more modern, but it's still a bit overgrown to some extent. And these tram props that I'm putting down. So I've decided that I'm going to use this, what's it called? It's called the Skyline Ride City Line vehicle assets that you can find on the workshop. And these are fantastic because they cover pretty much all vehicle assets that are available. Well, let me not say vehicle assets. Every public transport vehicle that's available. So the ride set of assets come with vehicles for trams. It comes with vehicles for buses. It comes with vehicles for trains. I mean, everything that you can set up a public transport network of, the ride collection has it. And I thought it was fantastic because it fits in nicely with the story of there is a new company, we call it Ride, that is taking over the public transport network of the town. So the local government or municipality outsourced this to some company, and these were the people that won the tender, basically. So this Ride City Line assets I thought I would use for this, and they're really beautiful assets. They're created by, it looks like it was created by a bunch of people. I think the main author is Blue Thunder because I see their name on pretty much all the assets, and then some assets it seems like they've credited Besquigglehausen, others they've credited Yanta or however you pronounce that. So it seems like it was a bunch of people that worked on this, and I thought they're really, really awesome. But then here at the back, I thought I would put what looks like the old trams that were used in this town. So I got these old looking tram assets which I've put down here, and then made this entire area pretty much overgrown. So the previous set of trams that were used here were basically pushed all the way to the back on these tracks. Basically, either they were built to house them, or in the past they were like a storage area for excess trams. So all these got pushed into this spot. This entire area is completely overgrown and nobody is really bothering to do anything else. The areas where this new company is making use of, they've got their trams sitting over there. So that's the thinking around here. And then just next to it, I'm putting down the road maintenance building as well as the bus depot. So I really wanted the depots to be really concentrated around the spot. Depot, whatever your pronunciation is. Anyway, so I basically plunked all of these down. I liked this biofuel bus, but I'm not really going to use any biofuel buses. What's nice is that if you've got, what's this thing? Is it advanced public transport? I can't remember the name of the mod. You can choose which vehicle goes on any line that you put. So I combined this building together with the road maintenance building, and then once we set up the actual public transport lines, we'll then pick these ride buses to be the ones running through the town. And because they also come with such a variety of assets, so you got different types of buses. If you've seen the trip through Little Town video, I used one of the ride buses there, but then you also have these ones that you can use for inner city transports, and then we can have a specific one that will connect between the different towns that we have on the map, and then even have a further unique one that can connect this town and every other town to, let's say, the airport, if we don't want to make use of the default vanilla building vehicles. So I really love this. If you haven't seen these assets before, definitely check them out. They're called Ride City Line. They are an awesome collection with a whole bunch of different options. The tram network will also I don't know what's going on with my tongue there. The tram network will also make use of these ride assets. The bus network will make use of these ride assets. And then at some point, I'm going to connect up a couple of towns using the ride train assets as well. My plan right now is to connect up this town to the airport using the ride buses. So the ride trains and buses. So yeah, beautiful assets which I definitely cannot wait to use. And then this is just the back of this tram station. I changed this place a little bit. I thought the parking spaces that I put here was a bit too much because nobody was actually using these parking assets. So I decreased the road or the parking space a bit. But overall, this place, I didn't want it to look too overly busy, but there's some kind of a warehouse that was there before, which is maybe still occupying that space, and then the ride company just took over the area that it could. And then across from here, I thought I would delve into a couple of dying industrial plots taking place. So my approach to this was to try and get as many dilapidated looking buildings and assets together as possible. Now, making these like old looking places actually quite nice if you combine, well, what I find, if you combine a whole bunch of tanks, a whole bunch of props, and all these pile assets, which I think come with the what's this thing? That disaster, what's it? Disaster DLC? I don't even, natural disasters. They come with the natural disasters. You plop a whole bunch of these down. You put a couple of dirt decals in and around it, and you have this awesome looking aging industry and dying area. And it just looks like there's a lot happening there. A lot has happened there. The place is going downhill and maintenance is just not happening. So the combination of this decal that looks like a road, coupled with all these dirt decals placed next to them, like really adds to that feel. And then putting down the concrete, using a concrete brush to paint over certain areas, but not everything. You paint over certain areas, leave a couple of green patches, you put down a couple of dirt decals on top of it, and then just put a couple of bushes in between all of it. It just really makes the area look old, and it comes alive. And if you look at the tank there to the top right, I've moved away from it. It's placing a couple of trees and bushes that are like growing through areas that they shouldn't. All of that just adds so nicely to that aging look. And this dirt decal is probably one of my favorites, which when I put on top of the road, it just makes it look so much better compared to just having the default dirt road that's just sitting there. You cover it with the dirt decal and it just looks more worn. It looks like the whole place is wearing down a lot better. It's not as organized as just the dirt road sitting there. And then immediately sitting next to this is a slightly more better looking industry. So the mix of the dyeing industry together with industry that is fairly well maintained, I think gives it a much more lively look, that the place is both happening and dying at the same time, and that is just such a beautiful combination, I think. So yeah, that's my approach to this, is combining good looking buildings together with aging buildings, and then put a whole bunch of tanks all over the place. Another thing that I find often works quite nicely is placing pipes on top of buildings, next to buildings, and then just connecting a couple of tanks together, a pipe leading from a building into a tank. All of that just makes the whole place look alive, looks busy, and it's all just hip and happening. I don't know why in the world I'll use such a term to describe this, but anyway. And then coupled with that, have a spot where there are a whole lot of trucks just parked there, or trailers just parked there, or the front part of the truck just sitting there, just to make it look like there's a lot of import and exports also going on. And the combination of all of that just makes the whole place look really alive. And I love the cinema. You'll see in the cinematics how the whole place just comes together quite beautifully. If you can't tell that I am quite happy with the way things are turning out, you should know I am very happy with the way everything is turning out. I love the look of it, and I think it's all coming out very nicely. And then you get these, I got these wireframes of warehouses, which also are very beautiful. You put these down and you put a couple of these old looking fences in between. It makes it look like the place has collapsed and fallen apart, and then the internal crates and stuff that were left there just become exposed, and it all just adds nicely to it. So I am actually kind of running out of, what's this thing, abandoned buildings, or at least I have not found as many as I would like. So if anybody knows of any nice abandoned assets, aging buildings, or props and stuff on the workshop, please drop me a link in the comments, and I would love to get my hands on it. I'd love to add more variety to the town let me rather say I'm running out of ideas of how to combine these things to keep getting a dynamic looking city. So if you know of any good assets, please let me know, drop me a link. I would definitely love to get a hold of a couple more. And then this area, again, mixing. These are actually vanilla buildings, by the way. The two industry buildings that I put down towards the back are actually industry buildings, but clip them nicely with this one big warehouse, and it makes it look like there is some kind of, it's like the machinery of this industry connected to this warehouse where things are stored. And then you have these bigger buildings to the side that are just working and churning things out. And what I was speaking about earlier with connecting the pipes, just have pipes connecting between the buildings, and it just makes it look so much better. I think the whole place looks so much busier. It looks like there's so much more happening. And then in between all of that, all the bushes growing, have a couple of dirt decals that you use to look like there was a path or a driveway there, but it's not really an active driveway or anything like that, but just the impression, I think, makes it all come together very nicely. Well, another thing you can do, which I tend to do a lot, is putting these vehicle props just sitting, off the road, so it looks like they had to go off road to get to the places that they needed to get to in order to access those buildings. So yeah, that is my approach on building this aging industry. I really love the way it's turned out. So probably going to see a whole lot of these types of buildings littered around the town, and it's really going to serve as the main theme for how everything is turning out, or everything is going to turn out. So yeah, that's it from me, everybody. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed it, please annihilate that like button. Drop in the comments what you enjoyed, what you'd like to see, and I will definitely do my best to incorporate as many ideas as I can. Thank you all so much, and yeah, I really hope to catch you in the next one. Cheers, everybody.